What is going on, Philip? What is up, everyone? Not a lot here. Hanging out. Did some work on the tank yesterday. Kind of finishing up some small odd ends today. There is only, yeah, Ari's here. Everybody can leave now. What's up, John? Now, I still have the single sun blaster on here. Probably going to get the Giesman, the dual T5 retro kit. Could get another one of these fixtures for, you know, and save quite a bit of money. But I like this fixture and I think that it does great. I don't really care for the reflectors that are on it, and I'd really like to have it boxed in to block some of the light since this is in my living room. So, you know, for this fixture was $50. For $50 it definitely serves its purpose, but I've toyed the idea of getting a 4-bulb ATI. 4 bulbs I think is just too much, so I think 2 would be fine. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I already have another 36-inch bulb, so if it wasn't for the I can't see the chat very well. The rippling of the water. Yeah. Actually, you know, I was sitting here yesterday and I was wondering, this is the bird's nest. Excuse my floor. This is the bird's nest. I just pulled it out of the tank. You can't hardly see it, but it's probably the rarest bird's nest you'll ever find. It's completely dead. But I was wondering what went wrong, and I've tested my phosphates and nitrates and my alkalinity on a pretty regular basis. Alkalinity stays about 9.7, 9.4, somewhere in that area. The nitrates are 0 and the phosphates are 0.08, and they've stayed that way. The algae scrubber is kicking ass. It's doing what it needs to do. But I had moved this gyre to the back wall, and I think, you know, I can't think of anything else, but I mean, I was only running it on like 20%. I was only running it on 20% on the back wall, so I think that I had a problem with flow, along with, of course, no nitrates at all in the system. They're completely 0. I thought you were going to get rid of the cans. I wanted to. I really did. I really wanted to get rid of them. But I don't know. You know, I'm going to leave it alone. Ultimately, I'm going to leave this as it sits, except for the fact that I'm going to add at least one more T5 bulb to this tank. I already have the bulb. I just need either another sun blaster fixture or the retrofit kit. But for now, I can't get rid of the Kessils. I cannot give up the shimmer that the Kessils provide, and ultimately I would say that the reason why I'm having problems with the Kessils is because I don't know that I have them configured right. I really don't. So, you know, it is what it is. Everything else, aside from that bird's nest, is doing fine. That green stylo right there is actually encrusted. This guy's, who knows what he's doing or whatever, but yeah, I don't know that I'm ready to venture down any type of real expensive test just yet, because the only coral that I ultimately have problems with is really the bird's nest and a couple of the other SPS. Now, as far as any of the LPS in this tank, they're doing fine. They're thriving. And I don't know, I'm probably jumping the gun as far as SPS corals are concerned, but I have stepped up my testing, and I do feed the tank pretty heavily. You know, I could be over skimming the tank. That alongside of the algae turf scrubber could just be doing too much. You know, this is my second bird's nest, and the first one that I had did fine until I put it in this tank. And ultimately, I'm gonna say that it is simply a lighting user error. And by going back to the basics and adding another T5 to the tank, I'm going to depend on the T5s to really do most of the work, and then the Kessils for just my physical ability to see the tank. So I'm going to go back to the basics, T5s on, T5s off, nothing fancy there. Kind of start from the beginning, then move myself forward. Now, with that being said, I got turned on to AquaSD's eBay sales last week, and needless to say, I went kind of crazy on eBay, and since I'd already paid for shipping, I went I didn't go overboard on their website, but I bought a couple more pieces on their website, and right now they're having a sale on Reef to Reef, so I bought some more coral from them since, once again, I've already paid for shipping. So come Wednesday, this tank will have a lot more coral in it. And I did pick up a couple of bird's nest frags and a couple other SPS frags to try out. I think out of all the coral that I got on eBay and the sale, the most I spent was like $10. Now I did splurge a little bit more on the two pieces that I picked up on their website, but there's more coral coming for sure. So this is a new update. This is a new cabinet, and if you follow me on Reef to Reef, there's of course pictures on there, but this is a yoga mat in between the tank and the cabinet. Let me pull the phone off here. Made the cabinet out of 1/2-inch plywood, used pocket screws. The other cabinet that I had worked, but it was a pain as far as running cables. So this one, let me back up here. The whole panel comes off the side. Ignore that, that's for my Apex, and that's going away. I ordered another adapter that's smaller. But now all I got to do is pull the entire panel off the side, and I can get behind the tank, whereas the other cabinet was just simply kind of a pain. But that's my battery backup, and it takes up a lot more space than I had anticipated. Then I got the power bar here, and I actually need another one, but I'll probably just get an EB4 and throw it in here. And I have things halfway situated, but this is a lot better than the previous cabinet that I had. But I bought the pocket screw kit, and that thing is that pocket screw kit is pretty sweet. Yeah, I had this router laying around, and it works perfect. My problem is how big it is. You know, I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to be in this cabinet ever. And I could use that, but I'm going to get a smaller one and try it out. So then of course I screwed up here. This is the panel that covers all of that. And that was supposed to be the back, but I actually built the cabinet backwards, so I had to cut another slit out there, and that butts up against the baseboard there, so that these two cables, the black one is for the battery backup, and then I have the T5 fixture running off the brown one, so the cables can run under it. And the front panel actually has some ledges here, and then this is a temporary lock. But what this is all about is, so this allows me to, that bottom one allows me to line it up and push it into place. But what drove this whole scenario, it's hard to see right now, excuse the camera work. So it's not going to stay closed, but that's closed and it goes all the way to the wall. So this will prevent my kids from getting in there at all. I mean, you can reach in there, but you're not going to grab anything. And I am using zip ties currently to lock it. And you know, zip ties may be my permanent locking solution. I don't ever get inside there, but man, I'm telling you what, whenever I have to get inside here, this cabinet is a lot easier to deal with. But I have pictures on Reef to Reef from when I started the cabinet, painted it, blah blah blah, and it's sitting on a yoga mat as well. I really like the gyre pumps. I actually just switched them. They're both running on random mode up to 60%. This one, of course, has a lot of coralline algae built up on it, as does this one. But I really like them. You know, at first they were loud, but they really quiet down a lot. Nothing's changed in here. The auto feeder just sits there, not auto feeding. Really need to take the cup off here and clean it out. What's going on, Ed? But the Nyos skimmer has been producing quite well here lately. What's going on, Dave? It's Dave's birthday. Hope wish him a happy birthday. What's up, Reefing with O? The scrubber is growing algae. It's very hard to see with the red light there, but it is working. I actually have, there's a company, Advanced Acrylics, I think, in Australia, that I'm getting the, I know if you have a reefer, you've probably seen it before, where people take the filter socks out and then put these acrylic canisters in these trays. So those should be here like Wednesday as well. I don't know. Do I need them? Not really, but I'm gonna try something new out, and I'm gonna use them for that. Let's see here. Is that, I don't know if that question's directed at me, Philip, about the auto top off. I know at one point I was having a heck of a time with the Tunze auto top off, but the Kessils come on at 9 a.m. I believe. I can show you. Give me 1 second here. I can't see the chat. Let me get logged into Fusion, if it lets me. What auto top off are y'all talking about? Sorry, I'm trying to get logged into Fusion here so I can look at my Kessil settings because honestly I don't know what they are. And apparently I don't know what my Fusion password is. I'm pretty spoiled with the Neptune auto top off. My only gripe about it, I will preface this by saying I have not seen one in person, but my only gripe about that auto top off is how dang big that float switch is. You know, I wouldn't be opposed to switching to the Neptune auto top off, but my sump is small to begin with. I don't have any room to put that huge float switch. Yeah, no, I'm running the 230s on this tank, the Gyre 230s. And the great thing about it is you buy one and it comes with the advanced controller. Run it, you might like it. If you want to add another one, all you got to do is buy the pump and it will plug in to your advanced controller. It'll run two. Alright, so let me pull up I got logged into Fusion. It's just being a pain in my butt. Yeah, reefing with all the that float switch, you know, I don't know why they couldn't have done something different, but it is what it is. So I don't know how well you'll see this, but this is my Kessil program. So they come on at 9 a.m. and go off at about 9 p.m. Ramping up to like 45 color, and the intensity is just a little bit above that. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm trying to. Eric says, have you seen excessive coral growth with the Kessil and T5 combo? I mean, it's really too early for me to tell. The T5's been on there for just a couple of weeks. I feel like everything is doing better. There's a green stylo that's on that right hand rock. It's right there, and it's pretty much directly under that T5 fixture, and it started to encrust probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Losing kind of track of time, but overall I feel like for me, you know, I'm really a beginner. And when it comes to keeping coral, I'm definitely a beginner. So that's why I'm going back to the basics. And once again, it's the T5 come on, they go off. There's nothing fancy about them. Thanks, Bubba. I appreciate it. So the other cool thing, if you don't have an Apex, is you can actually log your test parameters and it'll graph it out for you. And more importantly, if you have one of the Hannah checkers, like the phosphorus Hannah checker, it will convert the phosphorus checker for you. So whenever you go to input your data, it will convert that for you. So for some reason, I don't know if I can get this to focus, that has been my alkalinity, and at one point it was in the 8 area, and for some reason it spiked. And so that may have been another reason the bird's nest did not last very long. Now I am using Red Sea Coral Pro Salt, which does mix at like 12.3 and alkalinity, and that can be problematic. So I haven't put a lot of thought into changing salts just yet because I have quite a bit of that salt left, but it may be something that I do in the future. I did a water change last week and I'm not doing one this week, just so I can try to get some nitrates in the system, see what happens. And I know that Philip, you were on there because I listened to most of the conversation. 5280 had a live stream like a week and a half ago where y'all were talking about nitrate dosing, and I really liked that conversation. I didn't get to listen to all of it, but I got to listen to mostly the end of it for, I don't know, I guess I was kind of zoned out during the beginning of it, but is it true that Kessil blue intensity helps more with coral color intensity and growth than Kessil white intensity? I don't know that I'm really the best person to answer that question. I guess, and anybody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that I kind of address that is the corals are, I guess they prefer the blue, and then we prefer the white just to change it up. But my color and intensity program is set up pretty well the same. Now, whenever the good thing is with the single bulb T5 on there, it doesn't wash out the Kessils. So that's with the single T5. And this is the first time I've ever seen a tank with T5s on it, so I don't know if all reflectors are going to be like that or if it's just this particular fixture. Yeah, I'm using the Vivid Creative Aquatics lock line adapter, the 1/2 inch. I mean, it slipped right on, no problems whatsoever. I feel better about it versus the threaded solution. Matter of fact, I had a couple people, I think on the forum, say that their threaded adapter had popped off. This one has the Vivid Creative Aquatics lock line adapter. It's got a pretty good hold on it. But that's the tank with just the T5, just a single T5. It's really hard to see on camera, but the corals look pretty good under it. And that's with the Kessil blues turned all the way up, which probably looks even worse on camera. That's with the Kessil intensity turned all the way up, which turns the tank back to what we would see as white. Right now I think I'm running the T5s for like 5 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 5 hours. I could probably extend that at this point. They've been running for a while, or it has been running for a while. Ed says, what did Ed say about, that he emailed me 20 times, he emailed me 20 times ago that it lost power for no reason. Yeah, I don't know, I don't have the new Apex. I bought the classic used, and it's worked out fine for me. Yesterday when I unplugged it, I had to battle with getting my wireless router powered on at the correct time as my apex was coming up so that it would grab an IP address. My system set for about an hour yesterday with no heaters running, no pumps running, no nothing as I swapped out the cabinets. For a beginner, you have a rocking system, really impressive. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. It's pretty well consumed any spare time that I have. I'm reading stuff all the time, and especially about livestock now. That's what I spend most of my time doing at this point, is reading about livestock. This is the Sun Blaster T5 high output 36-inch fixture. There should be a link to it down in the description. If not, you can go to any of my other videos and there's a link to it, the 3-foot and the 2-foot. And I don't know if, I think they make a 4-foot, but the 36-inch fixture, that fixture was like $47. And then I put a ATI Blue Plus bulb in there. What is up, Rico? And whenever I bought that ATI Blue Plus bulb, I actually bought 2. What's up, Tomer? So, not a lot changed. I did move the pumps around a little bit. Just this one. Put it on a random setting. Put both of them on a random setting. And what are the wrasses? I have the Melanoris wrasse. It's a female, I think. It's not as pretty as the other ones, but at one point I had flatworms in this tank, and that Melanoris wrasse took care of all of it. This one down in the corner, I can't remember its name. It's a yellow something or another. This huge guy over here is a ruby head. All 3 of the wrasses came from Live Aquaria. And when I ordered this guy, it said small on the website. And whenever I got the box and I opened it up and I pulled out the bag had like a gallon of water in it. And I was like, they didn't put a small fish in this bag. So that thing, I mean, he or she, whatever it is beautiful. It's like a dark blue, pink, purple. I don't know. It's a beautiful fish. But I don't know if Live Aquaria is still doing it, but they were doing the free shipping over $99. So I picked up them, and I've never had any type of hermit crab or anything, so I picked up a Halloween crab. I think that's the name of the specific crab that I picked up, and it's pretty cool to watch. It's a pretty interesting creature, that's for sure. I almost got a flame hawk, but I really like the shrimp that I have over here, and you know, you'll read conflicting reports. Well, if the shrimp's been in the tank first, or if the shrimp's bigger than the flame hawk, and you know, from my understanding, the flame hawk might not initially go after the shrimp, but at some point in time, that flame hawk's gonna eat that shrimp, and I'm just not ready to give the shrimp up just yet. So. But yeah, I don't know, there's it's at least 10 or 12 frags coming in, various frags coming in from California, from AquaSD. They should be here Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'd never even heard of them before. Was surfing around reef to reef, kind of started reading through their threads and went to their eBay page and bid on a couple coral and ended up winning coral cheap. I ended up getting some pieces cheap. Matter of fact, I bid on so many pieces that like an hour after the other pieces that I won, after I'd already been invoiced for those, I won another piece, and I thought for sure that I would be outbid, but you know, I paid under $10 for every frag that I got off of eBay. And then right now they're having their sale on Reef to Reef, and you just go to their thread and pick out whatever corals you have and email your wish list to them, and if they have it, they'll send you an invoice, and there you go. But I've heard, I'm glad to hear that, Philip, because they've been really great as far as communication. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard nothing but good things out of them. So Germany, yes, been there. But nothing else really going on. Watching the tank. Trying not to meddle with it too much. They sent some freebies. I will not turn down free coral. There's a frag of zoanthids back here. I rid my system of all zoanthids, and I ordered some coral, and they sent the zoanthids. It's probably, since they're pretty cheap, probably one of the freebies I'll get if I get any. You know, I'm not gonna. A free coral is a free coral. You know, if I get some Zoas, then I'll just re-gift them to somebody else. I know I've said it before, and just not really a fan of them, but the Zoas back there done pretty well. But you know, if they send me some free pieces, then that's a plus. If not, I understand. But they've been great. I mean, I've chatted back and forth with them in email, and their response is great. They respond very quickly. I did pick up Inappropriate Reefer's been talking about that fathead. I'll probably butcher the name. That Dendro. The AquaSD had one, and I said, well, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. It's kind of the phase that I'm in right now. Let's try some things out and see what happens. But other than that, haven't changed anything. Trying to take my mind off of the tank so that I don't get my hand smacked by Rico telling me I need to just leave everything alone. Leave it alone, leave it alone. How did I get rid of the nitrate issue in my tank? I've never had a nitrate issue. So when I set up this tank, of course I tested ammonia nitrite and nitrate, and I took a ton of pond matrix from one of my other tanks, put it in here, and then used some biospira, and never had ammonia, never had nitrite, never even really had nitrate. Well, this was months and months ago. I ran out of all those tests, and I ran out of the nitrate tests, and the other two expired, so I just threw them away. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was curious, so I ordered another nitrate test, and I've tested nitrates once a week, and they are undetectable in this system, which I'm skimming pretty heavily. The algae turf scrubber is growing well. I feed these guys a mixture of different flakes and frozen foods. So yesterday the nitrates were 0, the alkalinity was 9.5, and the phosphates were 0.08. Some people tell me that 0.08 phosphates is high. So other people tell me to not worry about it. I don't have any algae issues in the tank at all, none. So they say don't worry about the phosphates because they don't have any algae issues in the display. I've actually, it's a very good suggestion, Bubba, thank you. I actually just ordered some more of the Hannah Regent. I'll probably butchered that word too, for the alk tester, and I test my alk, if not every day, every other day. So I'm definitely going to pay attention to it whenever I add the coral to the tank. Unfortunately, the only way that I can kind of combat that situation at this point is to do a water change. And if I have to do water changes, what I'll probably do is do, like, since Red Sea mixes up, the Coral Pro mixes up with high alkalinity anyways, I'll probably do like a 2-gallon water change. Just pour 2 gallons in the sump, let it run for, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour, and then pull 2 gallons out, kind of see what happens there. But with the Hannah alk checker, it's so easy, you know, and the refills are $8. So I've made it more of a common practice for me to keep my eyes on it and make sure that it does stay stable. Now, I did test calcium last week and magnesium, and I used the Red Sea test kits, and I don't really like I don't know, it's probably like the Kessil lights, it's probably user error, but I can't really ever get a true definitive answer, or I don't feel like I do on those test kits. But last week my calcium was at like 430, and from what I saw, now mind you, this is me looking at the syringe after I've used it. The magnesium was like, I think it was in the 1400 range. But as far as the calcium and magnesium, I'm not holding those numbers solid because I don't like those Red Sea test kits, and I'm sure it's something that I'm doing that is not making me like them and not giving me good test results. So yeah, that Red Sea, the Coral Pro salt it's see, that goes back to me being a beginner. When I bought the salt, I didn't pay any attention to any of the big three. I said, I want to try something new, and I do like the Coral Pro because it mixes so well, but I didn't pay attention. So, you know, smacking my own self because I should have known, but really should I have known? Because I never really talked to anybody about it, and I never really looked it up, so it's just a lesson I have to learn. I've read a lot of good things about sulfur test kits. A lot of people use them. A lot of people like them. So when the Red Seas run out, I might look at getting those instead. KZ salt. Salts. There's a lot of things in this hobby that can be debated for hours and hours and hours. I don't know anything about that salt, so I mean, to be honest with you, if you ask me if I think that Red Sea Coral Pro salt is the best, maybe, maybe not. I don't know, and I don't feel like I know enough about it to give any information on it. I should say that. So far it's worked for me, but as Bubba said, I mean, I go throw 10, 12 frags in here next week, and that Red Sea Coral Pro salt might not work. So luckily, like I said, I got a lot of these pieces for cheap. we're just gonna see what happens. That's all I can do. What is up, Shady? That's where I'm at. I want to get more coral. Of course, I would like to get some SPS coral, but I got to get there first. And for me, I'm going to learn better by just diving in, trying it, and see what happens. I mean, I don't know anything about bionic two-part. Of course, I understand the two-part basics, I suppose. But once we get into anything a little bit further than that, it's above my head. I love the Gyre pumps. For the price, I don't think you can really beat it. Matter of fact, for those that do not know, Maxspect has a patent pending on these pumps. So what does that mean? Jabo comes out with their little version of this pump. It's going to be harder to get those in the United States. Basically, to sum it up. And you can check out the Coral View section on Reef to Reef, where they discuss the patents pending on the Maxspect Gyre. I've had good luck out of it. I've actually taken this one apart once, and it was very easy to do. I probably need to take the one over here off of the tank and clean it at this point. But I don't think you can go wrong with it. That advanced controller powers 2 pumps. So, initially, whenever you buy the pump in the advanced controller, you take a pretty good hit out of your pocketbook, but whenever you go to add a second pump to the system, it's not nearly as expensive because you don't have to buy another controller. And I think that they have an Apex adapter for it now, but the catch to that is you have to buy, if you get the Apex adapter, you have to buy power supplies for the pumps because they actually are powered through the advanced controller. But if you're going to use the Apex module, you don't need the advanced controller. So, alright, I'm going to wrap some things up. I hear a little one that just started talking upstairs. It's kind of funny, Bubba just mentioned that. We're doing great. I appreciate you asking. I hear one of them upstairs now. She's waking up from her nap. So I'm going to go grab her. Enjoy a Sunday afternoon. It's beautiful here in Kentucky. But I do appreciate you asking that, Bubba. That's very nice. Thank you. So with that said, I'm going to hop out of here. I hope you all have a great day, and see you on the next one.